Hi there, my name is Jessy. I am so excited about this dress tutorial today. I think it's so cute. So I have two different versions of it. I'm going to show you how to make the basic one, and then I have another video that will show you how to add on these buttons. And then I'll have yet another video that shows you how to add on the sleeves and the trim and the bottom if you want to make a witchy style dress. Or if you just want to make it plain, I'm calling this plain black one the Taylor Swift dress because it looks like Taylor and I just think it's so stinking cute. So I'm going to be showing you how to do the tutorial in purple today so that it shows up and easy to see. Okay, so I'm going to be using Super Saver Red Heart yarn. You definitely don't need the jumbo amount. And then I'm going to be using the recommended hook size, which is a 5.5 millimeter, or it's a US size 9 or an I. And we're going to start out with a slip knot. You can do a slip knot however you want. Here's an easy way if you don't know. I take 2 fingers and then I put my tail end upwards, and then I wrap my yarn around. As I bring it back across, I'm going to form an X on my fingers. So I have a parallel line on one side and X on my fingers on this side. I'll open my fingers, I'll allow that tail end of the X to be stuck in between my fingers, and then I can just slide the rest of my yarn off, forming a really simple slip knot. And then from there I can attach that to my hook. And then I'm going to go ahead and start chaining. So to chain, I'm going to yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. And for this pattern, we're going to start off with a chain of 41. Okay, and once I have my chain of 41, if you pull it out and stretch it long, it should be about 12 inches. So now we're ready to start on our next round, which we're going to start from the second chain from the hook. So the yarn around the hook never counts as a space, but then this will be right here, the first space, and this will be the second. And we're going to go into that second space with a half double crochet. So to do that, I'm going to yarn over first, and then I'm going to go into my chain space, and then I'm yarning over again. I will pull out of that, and I will have 3 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So all that was a half double crochet. I'll do it one more time for you. So yarn over and then go into the next space, yarn over, pull through 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So we're just going to repeat that all the way across for this first row, except for I didn't yarn over before I did that first. And that's all this first row should be, is just 40 stitches of half double crochet. So I'll meet you when I'm finished. So once you get to the end, just go ahead and finish up in all of the stitches, including the very last one. Okay, so that's what our first row looks like, and this is gonna be the straps of our dress. So now we're gonna ready to mark off where we're gonna make sleeves. So I like to use stitch markers if you have some. If not, like safety pins or even bobby pins or even a random piece of thread will work. So I'm going to I'll start from this end of my hook, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then in the 7th spot I will put a stitch marker. Okay, and then I'm going to mark again. So not counting where I put the stitch marker, I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7th one, I'm gonna put a marker. If I can get it open. And if you don't need the stitch markers, that's fine. You can just count. I just like to do this ahead of time because I hate counting, and then I know that I have everything planned out. And then I'll start from this side. So this right here is just where we curved around. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And instead of just counting from here, just in case for some reason I miscounted when I did my stitches or I'm off count, this will just keep our dress symmetrical and easy. So I put that in the 7th, and then after the 7th one I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, I'll show you how to do with this thread. So if I just stick my crochet hook through and then I grab a different thread of different color, I can just pull it through and it will hold. Now in between here, I should have, let's see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which is what I should have had, so I've counted correctly. And now we're gonna form this into our sleeves. So this will be our strap right here, and then this will be our armhole over here as well, and we're gonna create the neckline of our dress. So we can start back where we started over here. And then after we finish this row, we can just go ahead and chain 1, and then I'm going to flip my work. So it's kind of like you're turning the page of a book. So if I were to flip it, oh, the page has been turned, okay? So, and I'm going to start again with my second chain from my hook. So essentially I'm just skipping that chain that I just made and working into my work. And again, we're gonna do double crochet or half double crochets. So I yarned over first, I went in, come out 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 hook loops. And I'm gonna work that all the way to my stitch marker, except for I'm gonna yarn over first. Okay, and once I've arrived at my stitch marker, I'm actually going to do a stitch into that spot. So I'll remove my stitch marker just so it's out of my way. So I'll yarn over and go into that space. If it's not bothering you, you can make the stitch and just leave the stitch marker in there. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to go ahead and chain 5. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is going to create our armhole, and then I'll yarn over first, and then I'm going to go into this space where my stitch marker is. And again, if you needed to remove your stitch marker first, because I'm having to move my yarn around it, you could. So all that was just a half double crochet to connect back. I'll go ahead and just move this out of the way now. So now until my next stitch marker or my yarn mark, I'm just gonna go back to doing half double crochets into every stitch. Okay, so I've made it to the spot where I've marked. I'll go ahead and yarn over, go into that spot. I'm gonna pull this out just so it's not in my way. I will finish up the stitch, and then I'm going to do the same thing that I did on this side. In order to make my armhole, I'm going to chain 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I will come to where my stitch marker is here, and I kind of pinch against my work. I'll yarn over, and then I'm going to go into that space, and now I'll just remove my stitch marker because I know where I'm at. Yarn over, pull through, kind of keep everything tight, otherwise you tend to get yarn pulled. So if I didn't have everything tight, I would have a space right here, but I want to just pull everything tight so that your stitches are close together, and then we'll just pull through all 3 of those loops. And then we'll work 6 more stitches till the end of this row. Four. This will be 5. And then we should have one more right here on the end. Oops, I should have pulled all the way through with that. So yarn over. All right. So that is what the first part of our dress is gonna look like. Right now it seems kind of a little, so I'm gonna grab a doll just to see how it's gonna fit. All right, so here I grabbed an American Girl doll, which is the doll that I want this dress to fit on. So I'm just gonna make sure that her arms fit through. And if it wasn't the length that I wanted it to be, I might use a bigger crochet hook, or I might add, I could frog it and do, you know, maybe a chain of 46 and then add more stitches here. But I like how tight and fit it is. You can see that it's fitting just perfectly around her arms, which is what I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue because I think it fits good. So I finished this row, and then I'm going to go ahead and chain one, and again I'm just going to flip my work like a book and then work this direction. So this next row is just going to be half double crochets again. Same thing, I'm going to start in the second chain from the hook, so skip that chain that I just created. Do my half double crochet. Make sure you yarn over first. And right now I'm going through both the front and the back loop for this pattern, or 2 loops. But once I get to where my armhole is and I have a chain, you'll see that I can no longer, this one I still have 2, except for I gotta remember to yarn over first. So I still have those 2 that I can go through. And now once I get here, I'll just go through the chain, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna find just that top part of the chain, grab it and go through, and continue to complete this row all the way across. And I'll do the same thing with the other armhole as well. When I get to the space where there's just a chain. And then as I get done, make sure you yarn over first. I'll go back to going through both the front and the back loop once I'm finished with that chain area. So I'm going to work the rest of this all the way across, and then I will meet you for the next row. Okay, so here's what it looks like after I've finished that row. Just a tip for you, if you ever need to try something on you or your doll, go ahead and put a stitch marker where, like, so my hook was here, right? I'm putting a stitch marker right here, and then I can pull on this and nothing is going to come unraveled, and I can take a break, or I can get my doll and try it on. I'm going to try it on again. Now I can't tell. We're kind of at like a symmetrical spot, like which way is up and down. My work is right here, so this is going to be up. Just after I finish that row, let's just see if it still fits the way I want. It is a little tight, but I want it to be tight. So I'm going to go ahead and continue, and we'll have to, it could be a little more, I guess it does stretch. As we work, I think it'll work out, but I could, as I finish up the edge, do more crocheting to add buttonholes right here. So I think that's going to be fine. I like the way it's looking, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. So then when you need to start your work again, just give your stitch marker a little tug and it will come out. Put your hook back in. I'm going to finish this row off with a chain one, and then again it's like flipping a book page, and then it's the same as all the other rows that we've done. So second chain from the hook, yarn over, go in. This is just going to be an entire row of half double crochets all the way across, and we're going to do this for about the next 3 rows, depending on how the waist of your dress wants to be. If you want like a longer waist with a longer torso, or if you want more of like a princess cut, you could stop whenever you want, but I'm gonna go ahead and meet you when I have completed 3 rows of half double crochets all the way across. Okay, so that's what it looks like after I've completed an additional 3 rows. So now the next one, or the next row, is going to be where I create my windows or my holes for my ribbon to go through. So I'm going to start off with chaining 4. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to turn my work again like a book, and I'm going to skip this first stitch and go into the next one with a half double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over first, I'll go into that space, complete my half double crochet. Okay, and there is my first hole, or my space for my ribbon. So now I'm going to create some more. So I've just finished my half double crochet. I'm going to chain 1, so I'm going to skip this next space, yarn over, and do a half double crochet in the next space. Pull all the way through, and there's 2 windows that I have. So I'm just going to repeat this pattern. I'll go ahead and chain 1 after I've done my half double crochet, and then I'll skip a space and go into the next space with a half double crochet, and then chain 1, and just continue to repeat that pattern, and that'll make a spot for my ribbon to go through. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I will meet you once I've completed this row. Okay, I've made it all the way across with my little windows. I currently have 18. So I've skipped this stitch, gone into this one, done my half double crochet, and then I have 1 stitch left. So I'm just gonna again chain 1, and I will go into this very last stitch and create my last window with my half double crochet. And it's not going to be as wide as the rest of them, but you don't even notice. I think it looks totally fine. And then we'll go ahead and chain 1, and we'll turn our work like a book. And then this next row is just going to be a row of half double crochets into every stitch. So do it like you've done your previous rows. Skip the first chain from the hook, and then go into the very next, complete your half double crochet, and we'll just do that all the way across. Right here where you kind of have, you can't tell maybe where your stitches are, if you just want to go like yarn over, and then instead of trying to find these, just go ahead and go into that window and complete your half double crochet. And then where this chain is, just right on top of that chain, you'll do your half double crochet again, and then yarn over, go into the window space, complete that, and then find the top. I guess I've been calling it a chain, but this is your actually a half double crochet stitch. So do a half double crochet stitch on top of your other half double crochet stitch and do a half double crochet stitch around your window as well, and work your way all the way across, and I'll meet you when we're ready for the next row. Okay, so I finished that up. I took a little break when I was doing that, and I have misplaced my other crochet hook. I was trying to avoid using this one because it will blend in with the yarn, but I think that you can still see the yarn. Anyway, so once you get to the end here, I've done this one. So I've done my half double crochet on top of my half double crochet, and this is my chain 4 where I started with my windows. So I'm just going to yarn over and finish this up with another half double crochet, and then you'll see that these windows are now wider because we went over with them. And now I'm gonna grab my doll real quick and just see how is it looking at this point. All right, so here it is on her. These windows are going to be right on her waistline, which I really like the way it's fitting and the placement and the length of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. If you wanted it to be higher or lower, just do more or less rows until you start your windows. Okay, but now we are ready to, we're going to take our work and we're going to bring it together. So just bring it around, and then in this very first stitch right here, so it's going to be, can you see right here, just go ahead and go into that end space, which I believe was a chain we did. Okay, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through everything. So all that is I'm just slip stitching both the sides together, and I just tried this on so I know it fits all the way around my doll, which hopefully if it didn't fit all the way around your doll, you've widened it before you've done all this work. So now I'm going to go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and this is going to count as my first double crochet for my shell stitches. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a double crochet. So to double crochet, I'm going to yarn over just like I did with my half double crochet. I'm going to go into that same space where I slip stitched. I'm going to yarn over, and then I'm going to come out, and I will have 3 loops on my hook, and this time instead of pulling through all 3, I'm just going to pull through 2. So there's 2. Now there's 2 loops on my hook. Just kind of tricky. I need to find my other hook so you guys can see. Okay, so I couldn't find a hook that is not the same color as my yarn in the 5.5, so I just went up 1/2 size, which is not going to make that big of a difference, especially because this is just the skirt of the dress, and if anything, it'll just make it more wider. So I'm just using this mostly for visual purposes. If I were you, I would stick with the same size of crochet hook through the whole thing. So I've done my chain 3, and then I've done a double crochet into that stitch right there, and that's going to be half of a shell stitch. So now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to skip a stitch, and then I'm going to do my shell into the next stitch. So to begin that shell, I'm going to yarn over, and this is going to be a double crochet. So I'll yarn over, I'll come through, there are 3 loops on my hook, I'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that was 1 double crochet. I'm going to do that again into that exact same stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to do 2 more double crochets into that same stitch again. So there was 1, here's 2. Okay, and there's our first official shell stitch this right here. When we come around, we'll finish the other half of it on the end. So now we're just going to repeat that again. So I'm going to skip a stitch and then I'm going to go into this next one. So let me get this out of the way so you can visually see. And we'll just do a repeat of what we just did. So there was 1 double crochet. Here's 2 double crochet. Then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going back into that same stitch with a double crochet, and then 1 more. So in each stitch, we'll do 2 double crochet, followed by a chain stitch, followed by 2 double crochet. And that creates our fan stitch. And then we're just going to repeat that. So skip a stitch, go into the next one, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, all in the same stitch, skip a stitch, and then just keep on repeating that all the way around. I'm going to do it just one more time with you just in case. So yarn over first, go into that next stitch, yarn over, come through. There are 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again, pull through the last 2. That counts as 1 double crochet. Now here's my second one. And then chain 1 and then go back into that very same stitch. And complete 2 more double crochets. And then skip a stitch and go to the next one. Okay, so I'm going to work this all the way around and then I'll meet you back over here to show you how we're going to take care of this. Okay, so now that I've made it all the way around, I've completed this shell stitch and I just have to finish off this last half one that I did. And really, I guess it was tight when I worked. I should have done this stitch in this one, if that makes sense, but I guess I skipped, but it really doesn't matter. So ideally what would happen is I would go into this stitch. So basically, just to finish off, whether you have a space right here or you don't, you're going to go into the same stitch that your chain started in and just do 2 double crochets. So there's 1, and that's in the same space that my chain is where I started, okay? And now I'm going to do another one. This is pretty forgiving. If you make one little mistake, you're probably not going to notice it. Some people might be a perfection and go back and fix that. I'm not. Crochet is pretty forgivable. So I'm going to chain 1 and then at the very top of that chain, so like right here, I'll just connect these and do a slip stitch. So now I'm at the top of the center of of my shell. So this is my shell. I'm at the top. So like if I was right here, I would be in between this space. And now I can go ahead and start my next row, which is going to be another row of shell stitches. So to start, I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to count as our first double crochet of our shell stitch. So then I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to go in between the space where my shell stitch is and just do a double crochet. Okay, and so there's half of a shell again. And now I'm just gonna complete the shell. So I'll chain 1 and then I'll do 2 double crochets into that same space. And it's just going to be a repeat of the last round, except for instead of skipping one space, we're just going to go to the very top of the previous row's shell. So where we have that chain space, we're going to go in here to start our next one. And then, so we've skipped all this. So if we're counting, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches that you're skipping. Is that right? Maybe even 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so just go into the top of this space. So I'm ready to begin my next shell. I'll yarn over, I'll insert into that space. I will do a double crochet followed by another double crochet, followed by a chain 1, followed by 2 more double crochets. So I think you get the idea. This round is just going to be a repeat of that all the way around. And again, I will meet you once I'm back here to show you how to connect to this shell and then begin your next row. So I'll meet you at that point. So now that I've made it all the way around, I'm ready to connect these 2 shell stitches together. So you can see that this shell stitch is coming out of the previous one. This is coming about the first one that I made that is screwed up because I didn't start that in the right spot, but it's okay. So what we're going to do is once we finish this shell stitch is we're going to find the top of that chain. So we chained 3 here, 1, 2, 3. So in the very top of that chain, we're just going to insert our hook, we're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through everything. So we're just slip stitching is all. And that completes the second round of our skirt. And as you can see, it's starting to flare out and it's going to be so cute. So now we just need to work our way to the top of this shell stitch. So you can do that just by, so we just went through that one. So now I'm going to go to the next stitch and I'm just slip stitching again. So I went in there and then I'm pulling through everything, and then we'll do that one more time into the very center right here. And now I'm ready to chain 3 again. So I go 1, 2, 3, and that counts as 1 double crochet, and I'm ready to begin my shell stitches again. I'll do 1 shell stitch with you just to start, and then you should get it. So I'll just do this one, which is going to be just a double crochet followed by a chain 1 and then 2 double crochets back into that same space. So all you have to remember is when you start your round of your shell stitches, you're going to chain 3 for your first double crochet. And so this first shell stitch will be a little bit different, but then after that you'll just go in and begin with a double crochet followed by another double crochet, chain stitch, and then 2 more double crochets, and you just repeat that all the way around. That's going to be all the rows from now on, so do as many rows as you want for the desired length of your dress. Okay, so I have done 9 rows of those shell stitches, or 9 rounds if you will, and I'll just show you how to finish up. You can do however many rounds you want depending on the length that you want your dress to be. So again, I've come to the end and I'm ready to just connect this last shell stitch to the previous one. So I'm going to go in through the top of that chain and I'll just do a slip stitch to connect those. So everything went through. Those are attached, and I'll just end here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn with my scissors, just snip it off, and then I'll pull this all the way through, pull it tight so it doesn't come undone, and then I can take a needle and I'll just thread it. And then you can just work your way, kind of hide in this tail end. If you're gonna keep going and make this the witch dress, we're gonna add the bottom edging, so we could have worked this tail end and when we did that as well, but I'm just going to show you how to do it now. And I'm going to go back maybe this way, just weave different directions so it doesn't come undone, and you kind of get the idea. There's pull it through, and then I can go ahead and cut it off right here. And I can do the same thing with this one up here. So I'll thread it, I'll send it through, kind of weave in and out of these stitches one direction, and then I will go back the other direction, and then just one more time back the direction that I went the first time, and pull it through, and then I can go ahead and cut that off. Okay, and then again, like I told you, I'll do links below if you want to know how to add button loops here, and if you want to know how to add the witch elements to this dress. But it also could just stand alone just like this. You could put like a ribbon through here. You don't even have to crochet the ribbon. It could just be a regular ribbon. So thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the other videos.